What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Alphonso Speaks, and welcome back to more Darrell Brooks Waukesha Christmas Parade trial. Before we get started today, quick thank you to our sponsor, Kenichi Bear Headphones. You can use promo code Alphonso, all caps, because I do identify by that name, and I do know that individual, and you all have the subject matter jurisdiction to grab yourself a brand new pair of Hibernation 5C headphones at 15% off. 15%. That's a deal. All right? Make sure you guys get some of those today. They're great quality, same quality that you get with Bose, JBL, Sony, and all of those, but at a fraction of the price. So make sure you guys grab some if you need some headphones today. Now, we are jumping into day 3 of the Darrell Brooks trial. We got a long way to go, but hey, we got to start somewhere, guys, right? So we're going to start today with day 3, which involved Darrell Brooks' cross-examination of Detective Casey. And it also involved the first time that Darrell Brooks decided to put on a suit. Yes, look at that man. Look how dapper he looks. Oh man, he's really lawyering. He's finally made it in life. He's doing his thing. He is the epitome. He is the standard of what a lawyer should be. If you're going to defend yourself in court, you should look like this, right? Wrong. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic, but yeah, this is the first day that that Darrell Brooks wore a suit in court, and we're gonna take a look at it. This is about an hour long between the various legal things that needed to be discussed before the cross-examination, and then finally we'll get to the cross-examination. But obviously, I think we all can say that we really enjoy the parts of the trial where Darrell Brooks is kind of just making a fool out of himself. So we're going to go ahead and watch all of that now.
State of Wisconsin versus Darrell Brooks, case number 21 CF 1848. May I have the appearances, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Sue Upper, Leslie Basie, and Zach Wichow, all appearing for the state of Wisconsin.
All right, sir, please state your name for the record.
I'm here.
I got something to drink too. Make sure you guys get something to drink. Shout out AG Tactical for always reminding us to stay hydrated while we're watching these trials, okay? Shout out my boy, AG Tactical. If you guys have not subscribed to him, please go ahead and do that now, okay? Quality content over there that he's making. Already at 11.9K subscribers or something like that, man. Dude's been doing this thing for a few months now, and it's paying off. I'm just following in his footsteps, so make sure you guys follow him. Shout out to AG Tactical. I got my apple juice right here. Yes, my apple juice. Yes, I'm a grown man. I can drink apple juice.
As a third-party intervener in that matter, appearing as authorized representative for my client, I accept for value in return for value all of the charging instruments in this matter and make my exemption available for discharge of all obligations and charges connected with this case. I do not dispute any of the facts in the charging instruments.
All right, the records reflect that the individual known to this court as Darrell E. Brooks appears in person and in custody. He is in street clothing today, in a suit and tie, also wearing a mask. I checked with Mr. Brooks before calling the case if he had any documentation to provide to the court or to the state. I did look at a number of subpoenas. I told him I would be able to look at those for completeness. And the one thing I noted was that there was a date and time for the appearance. That was not included. And so I just wanted to address that on the record. Since, of course, this is a multi-day, multi-week trial. Typically, individuals, whether it be the state or a defendant, would put the first day of trial on the subpoena unless there was some other information to suggest a different date. Obviously, we've already started, but I can ask the state if they, given kind of how things have been proceeding thus far. I know originally you had thought it would take 5 to 7 days for you to present your case in chief. Are we still on target for that from when we started the taking of testimony?
Yes, from when we started the taking of testimony, yes. Right now, we are projected to wrap up our case Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. So that would be within that 5 to 7 day range, Your Honor.
All right. Certainly would be reasonable if you picked a date, either Thursday or Friday, if they show up, which presumably they would, right? If we're able to get all of these, not me, but if the state's able to assist, given what they've said earlier in getting the subpoenas out, then even if we weren't quite to that point, I can certainly bring people in and let them know when to come back. And that's pretty typical.
So, Your Honor, just so I'm clear, so I put, so that would be roughly the 13th or 14th?
Today's the 10th, so Thursday would be the 13th and Friday would be the 14th. And then I didn't look very close to the names and whether you had addresses, but you should put in their last known address or other information as to where these people can be served if you know.
I was going to mention that too. That's kind of problematic because a lot of them, their addresses are not stated in the paperwork. So I don't
Are
know.
all of these individuals referenced in the paperwork that you've reviewed?
Yes, they are.
All right. Presumably then, Attorney Opera, you'd be able to look at that and perhaps assist with that information?
Yes, to the best of my knowledge, everyone's address is somewhere in the paperwork, but yes, I'm sure we will be able to find addresses.
The other omission I noted, and not necessarily your fault, is these were stamped by our clerk of court, which is standard. I will direct my clerk with your approval to put today's date for the date that these are all signed by the clerk of court's office, okay? Is that a yes? I thought I saw you shake your head yes. I just want to confirm for the record. Okay.
I mean, it's just a lot of this, that I expressed last week that I wasn't really sure how to get done. So whatever assistance is greatly appreciated.
All right, so Madam Clerk is directed to put in at the top left, and then what I'll do is I'll keep a copy for the court's records, and then give you a copy, and then we'll give the originals to the state so they can look over them and then tell us if there's any issue with trying to get them served. But I need to get that to them this morning with your approval so they can let us know if there are any issues. Do you agree to that, sir?
Yeah, I just got to put the dates in again, correct?
This man's suit looks ridiculous, by the way. Like, and I understand this was probably a suit that was, like, provided to him. So, I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, bro, your sleeve should not be that far, out of the sleeve of the suit jacket. Your top button on your dress shirt should be buttoned, and the tie should be tied all the way up to the top. Like, these are the basics of wearing a suit. It gets maybe a little bit more complex when you start talking about the color combination, sure. But actually, the color combination is perfectly fine. Like, that tie goes with the shirt, and it also goes with the suit jacket. But Darrell doesn't know how to dress himself professionally, and so when you look at his sleeve, and you ask yourself, why is the entire cuff of the sleeve sticking out of the suit jacket? Well, it's because this isn't his suit. He's borrowing it. He's borrowing the suit. He probably doesn't own a suit. All he owns is probably red t-shirts, gray jackets, blue jeans, and Milwaukee Brewers slides. It's probably all he owns.
Yes. It would be fine if you did Friday morning. I mean, even if the state got done a little bit early on Thursday afternoon or something, and we, in theory, had time to call a witness, I'm happy to just go to the next morning so that it's clear.
What should I put for the time?
8:30. And then just let me know when you're done so I can address a couple of other issues.
Skipping ahead, he takes forever with everything.
Copies of those. If you tell me the number, I can also look that other thing up. State to review and assist with service. I do want to address Exhibit 6, which was previously received by the court. This is the 6-minute squad cam and audio footage from Officer Phillips. As I advised last week, after I went back into chambers to review that, I did note what Mr. Brooks had said. I may have been a little bit off on the language in terms of what Ms. Patterson is heard saying, but it's a pretty clear reference to one of the incidents that is the subject of a prohibition by this court related to other acts. And I indicated I was inclined to strike that exhibit and so advise the jury, but I would give the parties an opportunity if they had any arguments on that to address that this morning. So since the state offered it and there is that violation, I'll turn to the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. First, I do offer my apologies to the court and to Mr. Brooks because the previous occasions where we had watched that video, we did not catch that. I think the record will speak for itself, but there was a lot going on in that video. As you had mentioned previously, the officer's radio was talking. You can hear the dispatcher, you can hear other officers, and you can hear some people talking in the distance as well. So we did mistakenly include that. However, that being said, Your Honor, I think it's a clear reference to the other acts only if you know there's other acts. Truthfully, I think it's a vague and ambiguous statement. What I heard the statement to have been at about the 2:52 mark in the recording, I heard Miss Patterson say, "Me and my baby daddy, we fight all the time. We had an incident, he ran me over with a car." That's what I heard her to say. She does not say it happened in Milwaukee. She does not say it happened 3 weeks ago. She does not say I suffered a broken leg. To me, in the context of Miss Runkle's testimony last week, in which she testified that Mr. Brooks had swerved at Erica Patterson, and that Miss Runkle had pulled her out of the way, I don't think the jury would have immediately thought Erica Patterson, when she made that statement, if they heard it, was referring to something weeks earlier in another county at another location. Really, the only thing objectionable about that whole quote I just issued would be the very last phrase, "He ran me over with a car." And again, if she's referring to the Milwaukee incident, it's not clear from that statement. I certainly understand with the knowledge of the Milwaukee incident, there's a reasonable interpretation that's what she was talking about, but she may also have been talking about the events of November 21st, even to an objective standard on this record, Your Honor. I don't think the jury would have realized or appreciated she was talking about another incident. So I think the exhibit can stand as is. We could redact just about a 2 or 3 second audio from that recording where those words are removed, and I listened to it several times over the weekend. I think if we did that, it would not be that obvious, so that the exhibit could stand in place. The officer, if you recall, the timing is he's getting out of his car and he's approaching them, and she makes that statement about "he ran me over with a car," but then her very next sentence is, "There's nothing happened, nothing's going on, nothing to be worried about here." And she's essentially trying to convince the officer not to do anything. So again, I think that also supports our contention that if we strike the exhibit or we strike words from the exhibit, we may be calling undue attention to something that was very vanilla to this jury that they really wouldn't have thought twice about, given the testimony of Corey Runkle and Erica Patterson that was already on the record. So we would offer to redact that portion if appropriate, but it may also be appropriate just to leave it stand as is. And should they ever ask to see that exhibit again, we would prevent that from being played a second time.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks, do you have a position on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious to me. I can only hear out of one ear, and I was able to hear clearly what was said. With all due respect, Your Honor, you made a ruling about this previously in ample enough time before the trial even started. You made the ruling. I see no reason why the exhibit should be admitted into evidence. From my perspective, it's clearly obvious what was being referenced. I mean, if she was able to give any type of statement at that time to the officer, then obviously she wasn't hit at that time on that date on the 21st. She would clearly be referencing some other incident. Hence the reason why we argue all the time in this, that, and the third. It was clear to me what was being referenced, and because of the ruling, because of the implication in that statement, I believe the exhibit should be striked altogether.
Bro, anything this man can do to get any type of evidence thrown out, he tries to take it. And hey, like, can you blame him? You know what I mean? When you have that much evidence, like, obviously it's a moot point, but like, he's at trial. If you're at trial fighting for your life, defending yourself, you got to do something. So really the only thing that he can do is, harp on the technicalities as we've discussed and try to get different evidence thrown out for whatever different reason. Now, again, the issue he runs into is that, yeah, you can throw out this piece of evidence, but this piece of evidence points towards the same thing that piece of evidence was pointing towards. It's like there's so much evidence, there's so many exhibits that it really doesn't matter, but you can't really blame them for trying to, like, you can't really blame him for, if the judge says you have a position on that, yeah, throw it out. Like, what else is he really supposed to say, honestly? Just don't do the crime if you can't do the time, you know what I mean?
Thank you for your position, Mr. Brooks. And the reason why last week I said I'm inclined to strike it, but I wanted to give the parties an opportunity to review it over the weekend is, in some respects, because of what the state just said, there's information on that clip, at least from Ms. Patterson, that I didn't know if you wanted to come in or not, about nothing happened here, right? Those types of statements. So that's why I give the parties a chance to look it over and then come back to court and tell me what they want to do. So your position has been made clear. You believe it should be struck or stricken, as we say. And I agree with you, Mr. Brooks. This court gave a very clear prior ruling.
Look at his eyes. He can't believe it. You agree with me? I didn't think I was going to get this far. Oh, man. I put this suit on and everything changes. I'm lawyering now. Ha ha. This must have been such a big confidence boost for this man. Really. Him coming in here with the suit on and finally a ruling going his way. Oh, man, that had to be so ego boosting for this man. Oh, my goodness. I'm so the telltale will be like when we hear him cross-examine Detective Casey in a few minutes. Like, what's his vibe like? Like, does he sound like he's feeling himself? Like, his questions, is he asking them in a really like confident manner? Like, we're gonna see. We're gonna find out.
Related to other acts, and the state had an obligation to abide by that ruling. While I have options available to me, meaning I could redact it if the jury wants to hear it later on, my concern with redaction is it may possibly highlight that portion. We don't know whether any one of these jurors heard it and made a note about it. And that's certainly not something I'm going to ask them to reveal. And because of the violation, and even though there's other things going on, even though I could redact, I am going to strike this exhibit and so advise the jury. As far as advising the jury, I simply want to tell them the following. When they come into court today, as previously the court received Exhibit 6 during the testimony of Officer Phillips, the jury is hereby advised that the court has stricken this exhibit, and the jury is to disregard anything it may have heard regarding what was on that exhibit. Any objection to that language from the state? No. How about from you, Mr. Brooks?
No objection. Man went my way. I ain't got no objection. Are you kidding me? Come on, let's keep this thing going. I'm about to be set free.
Report regarding one of the occasions Mr. Brooks was removed from the courtroom.
Y'all, I can't wait till I move. Only a few more months, y'all. Only a few more months. Going back to DC. Well, going back to Maryland, mostly. It'll be a lot quieter. I'll tell you that much. Oh, and I'm gonna have sound foams on the walls and everything, so we really ain't gonna have to deal with all this extra noise in the background. It's crazy.
I've been advised it's been dictated and I believe written. I haven't seen it yet, but I did follow up on that this morning. I believe I'll have it at some point today, and we'll turn that over to the parties.
To the 6th, Thursday, October the 6th.
That was in reference to the incident where, if my memory is correct, where there was not about the COVID test, but about the needing you to sit down so that, I don't remember if you were over there or here or what, but they needed to get those restraints either on or off so that you could be situated, and that's where you had indicated you had been hurt. So that's what I'm talking about. I wanted to have a record of that here.
I think that was the 6th. I also want to state for the record that I was given paperwork to fill out a report of my own, and I stressed that because after the detectives came and took the pictures of my bruises and injuries, I was told that they didn't know when I would actually get the actual filing of the report that they were going to report. So I just went ahead and asked for my own. I filled that out. I don't know if it's been given to the right parties yet.
You're talking about the inmate complaint form to have the either the jail or the sheriff's department review that related to the use of force.
Yeah, it was the top paper was from the sheriff.
All right, you know that that's not my responsibility to address what happened, other than how it impacts this trial, which is why.
That's not us, guys.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sometimes the trial video just does that. Not really sure why. Technical difficulties they were having inside the courthouse leads to that sometimes. The freezes and things of that nature. But we're good over here. Don't worry.
I would ask that some of the witnesses that testified last week be released from their subpoenas, especially now that we have Mr. Brooks' witness list. Specifically, I'd be referring to Corey Runkle, Officer Phillips, Kyle Edwards, Holly Berg. I note on his list today, he does still have Erica Patterson and Detective Guth. At some point, we'd like to be heard about that, but we don't need to delay the jury at this point.
All right, any position on their request, Mr. Brooks?
I guess my objection to that would be Officer Phillips. That would be one that I would still like to be under subpoena. Everybody else is I'm fine with.
That's the officer whose squad video I just struck. So you didn't have him in your subpoenas. So you'll need to, for now, I'll tell the state they can't release him. You'll need to fill out a subpoena, and I need to have that by the lunch hour today in order for him not to be released from the state subpoena.
And I definitely don't want Erica Patterson released from.
Right, you have her on your subpoena, so.
I definitely don't want Erica Patterson released. Nah. Not my baby mama. I need her where I can see her. I don't need her out here falling in love with anybody else and moving on with her life. I don't need all that, okay? I need her right here in court where she belongs, right here with me.
Oh, I understand that.
I just wanted that for the record.
All right, thank you. All right, then I will grant the request from the state as to Corey Runkle, Kyle Edwards, and Holly Berg. For now, Officer Phillips will remain under the state subpoena along with Erica Patterson and Detective Guth. We can take issues up with that either, maybe closer to the lunch hour or when we come back, or even at the end of the day. But I would like to bring the jury out. But of course, Mr. Brooks, I need to turn to you first and see if there's any issues you believe the court should address.
Very briefly, I just want to state this for the record that I would like to issue the court an apology from me in regards to my actions last week during the trial. I just want the court to understand it's very emotional right now, not only for just the whole situation of the trial, the families here that have to go through, everything that's going to be involved with the trial, but also my family as well and myself. It's very, very emotional. But not to excuse my actions, I should carry myself with better respect than that. I wasn't raised that way. And I owe you, Your Honor, and the court an apology. And I'm going to stand up as a man and tell the whole court and you, Your Honor, that I apologize to the bailiffs, that I apologize for my actions. Like I said, that's not how I was raised. I come from a Christian background. My mother did not raise me that way. She did not raise me, to act out of frustration and irritation and
No, she didn't raise you to act out of frustration and irritation and to have outbursts. No, she just raised you to run through Christmas parades, run over women and children and old men. That's how you were raised. Yep. Makes sense.
In anger. And I just wanted everybody to know that I apologize for my actions. And I'm going to try my best to, whatever happens, to conduct myself with respect and with respect to the court. And I just wanted y'all to know that the prosecution, judge, bailiffs, clerks, reporters, everybody, the audience, everybody here. I just wanted y'all to know that.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. I do appreciate that. Understandably so. This is an emotional experience, I think, for everyone involved. And I appreciate that you, upon reflection, have realized that courtesy and decorum are an important part of a court proceeding.
Dang, he had her fooled Because we all know what's coming. We all know what's coming. He had her fooled. He had her fooled. I believe he has outbursts like this same day. So we're going to see as we continue to go along day 3.
I know that despite you being emotional at times and not being an attorney, you certainly, you're clearly paying attention. You've made some very salient points throughout the last few days. I think you're settling in quite well, and, we're going to keep this trial going. I know you said earlier, and I just want to make a record of this because it's really important that I do this, sir. You've mentioned repeatedly about your hearing. I know you don't have the headphones on now. We'll give them to you just based on what I've observed this morning and how you've responded to things that have been said. I think you're hearing us. But look, if we haven't made the headphones available, we got to make sure we do that every single day so that if you need them. But I do appreciate everything that you've said. And I know we have Detective Casey, who we'll bring up momentarily for your cross-examination, just so everyone is aware. It's my practice when there's a second day to also put the witness under oath again. So he'll at least be sitting up there when the jury comes in, and then I'll have Teresa put him under oath again.
Really quick.
Go ahead.
I don't want you to get mad with me, but I have to say it on the record. Will you be addressing my filings about the subject matter jurisdiction of the court?
I have addressed them previously, perhaps not to your satisfaction. I understand your objections. They're noted, and my previous rulings stand.
This is probably the most gentle response he had to anything related to subject matter jurisdiction. Like I said, y'all, he's lawyering today. He has the suit on. Like, he's not here to play around. He has a suit on. He is about his business today. He is standing on business here in day 3. Okay. And watch as he examines Detective Casey. You just know this man's just going to be like, yeah, let me be professional. I'm a lawyer. I got my suit on. All right, let's ask these questions. Let's secure my freedom.
Will it be proven?
Sir, my previous rulings stand. That's how I'm going to address that, okay? All right, with that, we'll have the jury brought out.
All right, let's get Detective Casey up here.
During the playing of Exhibit 6. With that, we have Detective Casey here for cross, as is my practice. When there's a second day, someone's on the witness stand.
Yep, you got
And
it.
once again, for the record, state your first and last name.
Thomas Casey.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks, this is your opportunity.
Somebody in the comment section told me that he's retired now. Congratulations to him, man. Heck of a career. Well, the way to end it, right? But you serve for that many years in law enforcement that you can retire. That's a lot of public service right there. So, hats off to him. And congratulations, Detective Casey, on your retirement.
To question him.
Good morning, Detective.
Good morning.
So, how long have you been in law enforcement?
25 years.
Since a long time. I want to direct you to the evening of November 21st, 2021. You stated that you were on duty that afternoon, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall any disturbances that afternoon?
Do you mean when you drove through the parade routes and...
Your question was a little broad. To try to narrow down the time frame so he can answer that more specific.
Okay, so I don't know why they're showing the other courtroom, but I thought Detective Casey's answer was hilarious because that's exactly what I'm thinking. What do you mean? Do I remember a disturbance? There was only one disturbance, and it was you.
Roughly around the time of maybe 4:30ish p.m.
Yes, I do.
Do you remember what you can recall?
Do I remember if I can recall?
Do you remember the disturbance you recall?
Yes, I do.
Would you state what that is? What that was, rather?
I heard a horn beeping, and then a Ford Escape came through the parade route, and you drove past me and wouldn't stop, and you continued driving into the parade route.
Who is you?
Darrell Brooks, the defendant, seated at the table.
let the record reflect that I do not identify by that name, nor do I know anybody by that name.
Your objection is noted.
So you
Excuse me, let the record reflect. Make sure you guys are writing this down. Clerks, whoever's writing this down, let the record reflect. I don't identify by that name. All right, I'm not going to keep saying this over and over again. I don't identify by that name. So when I ask you who is you, you better say the right name. Even though I'm not providing what that correct name is, because you guys are already saying the correct name, but I'm just being difficult.
heard a horn beeping.
Yes,
Was it coming from the vehicle that you tried to stop?
I believe that it was.
You stated that you've been in law enforcement for 25 years. That's a long time. So it would be fair to say that you operate a motor vehicle pretty much every day. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, I operate a motor vehicle almost every day.
And would it be also fair to say that
Detective Casey, man, when he answers these questions, he's just looking at the jury like, yes, I operate a motor vehicle every day. Can you believe how stupid these questions are? Like, are you guys hearing this? That's like his whole vibe right now. I love it.
you would only beep your horn in a motor vehicle if you were trying to alert someone to your presence?
I think that could be a fair statement.
Would it be also fair that you would beep your horn to avoid any danger?
There could be many reasons why a person is beeping their horn.
Would one of those reasons be to avoid danger?
Could be.
See, what doesn't make sense is, like, with this line of questioning, he's essentially admitting that he was in the driver's seat. Because why would you be asking these questions if you weren't? You're not there to defend somebody else. You're there to defend yourself, right? So if you were there to defend somebody else, like, why? If you're there to defend yourself, and later on you're asking questions of other witnesses, like, do you recall saying that you saw multiple people in the vehicle? So you're asking those questions to create reasonable doubt that you were actually the one in the driver's seat, even though we caught you on camera. But in these questions, you're basically admitting, yeah, I was in the driver's seat. Didn't you hear me honking my horn? Why would you think I was honking my horn? Inconsistency. He had no angle. He had no strategy. Just show up, put my suit on, ask questions. Try to make the trial look like everything's being sabotaged in the state's favor.
Yes.
Do you recall if you were able to see who was operating the vehicle you attempted to stop?
Yes, I was.
And can you recall a description of the operator?
Why would you ask these questions after you ask the questions about what do you think? What do you think it means if somebody's beeping their horn? Why would you be asking that if you weren't in the driver's seat? So now you're asking if you got the description. Now you're trying to paint the picture that you weren't the one in the driver's seat. And then later on, you're trying to paint the picture that, yeah, I was in the driver's seat, but it wasn't intentional. I was trying to avoid people. Were you in the driver's seat or not, bro? You have to pick a like, even when we get to the sentencing remarks from Judge Darrell, she even has a moment where she says, we really never understood what Darrell Brooks' defense was here in this case. Like, nobody knew. Nobody understood because nothing he was doing was making any sense. And now look at his face. I told you guys already, the freeze frames in this trial are great. He looks ridiculous every single time.
Operator of the vehicle you attempted to stop?
He was light-skinned, black male, had some light facial hair.
Is that all you recall?
That is what I recall.
Do you recall what they were wearing?
No, I do not.
So you were able to get a description of how the operator of the vehicle looked, but not what they were wearing?
That is correct.
Do you recall how fast the vehicle was going at the time you attempted to stop it?
I believe the vehicle was going about 3 to 5 miles an hour when I tried to stop the vehicle, and it continued on past me.
Would it be fair to say that 3 to 5 miles an hour is not very fast?
I think it's very fast when you're in a parade route, when there's hundreds of people marching in the road and a police officer isn't standing in front of your car, pounding on the hood, trying to get the vehicle to stop. I'd say that that's too fast. Any speed is too fast on a parade route when you have all those people in the roadway. A car should not have been there.
That wasn't the question, but thanks for the commentary.
See how he tries to take back control? That wasn't the question, but thanks for the commentary. Oh my gosh, man, he just buried me. Oh my god, no! That's what's going through his mind right now. That's what's going through his mind. Because Detective Casey is such a good witness. He's such a good witness. It's like he's not playing ball with Darrell Brooks. You're going to ask me an open-ended question? Guess what? I'm going to give an open-ended answer. You better start asking some yes or no questions, or you're going to get more answers like that, where I basically bury you to the jury.
Detective Casey, please just answer his questions. Attorney Ackel will have an opportunity to redirect if necessary.
No, Judge Darrell. He did answer the question. He answered the question. He said, in your opinion, would this be considered blah, 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 blah? Or whatever the question was. He asked it in a way that provided Detective Casey an opportunity to to answer it with a open-ended response. But here's the thing. Maybe Judge Darrell's just doing that for the record, but words are like toothpaste coming out of a tube. You can't put it back in once it's out. You can't. So the jury has heard this already. The damage is done. Detective Casey is smart. He doesn't care if he's asking a yes or no question. He's gonna answer it the way that he wants to, because the jury is not going to forget what he said just because Judge Darrell maybe strikes the answer, or maybe she says, "Oh, can you just answer his questions?" They'll have an opportunity for cross. No, the jury. We're not computers. You can't just delete stuff off of our memory. We're going to remember that. We're going to hear that, and we're going to store it, and we're going to use it to make our decision later.
Would it be fair to say that that's not a very fast speed?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Do you recall if the operator of the vehicle that you gave a description of had any hair on her head?
I do not recall seeing the operator's hair that day.
So it would be fair to say you don't know if they had long hair, short hair, anything of that nature?
That is correct.
Do you recall testifying at the preliminary hearing in this matter?
Yes, I do.
Can you recall what you said when asked a description of the driver of the vehicle you attempted to stop?
I don't recall word for word what I said.
Do you recall being asked the question?
I would think that I was, but I don't recall the exact words that I used then.
Just 1 second.
Y'all know every time he says just 1 second, it's going to be a couple minutes.
In a short, dark beard? Do you recall saying that the operator of the vehicle you attempted to stop had short hair and a short, dark beard?
I'm not sure what the context is, but I don't recall saying that the person had short hair.
The context was the question of, did you get a description of the driver of the vehicle you attempted to stop?
I guess I'm not sure when you're speaking of, because was that when I saw the car or when we saw the vehicle after what witnesses said? It seems like I'm not sure exactly the time period that
So
you're
are
asking.
you talking about what witnesses said or what you actually saw?
Correct, that's what I'm confused about.
Well, you just said that you recall being asked at the preliminary hearing that you testified at a description of the operator of the motor vehicle. Would that be fair to say?
I don't understand your question.
I think it's very clear. You testified at the preliminary hearing in this matter, correct?
He says that so much, I think it's very clear. It doesn't matter if you think it's very clear. If the witness don't understand it, then you just going to have to figure it out. Or they're not going to answer the question. That's pretty much how that's going to go.
Yes, I did.
And were you not asked a description of the operator of the motor vehicle that you attempted to stop?
So I believe my testimony was at the preliminary hearing that I did not see the person's hair, if that's the specific time that you're speaking of.
I have a portion of that preliminary hearing that you testified at with your words right here.
Mr. Brooks, what page are you at?
I am at page 17.
All right, thank you.
You were asked, could you see anybody inside the vehicle? Your answer was, at that point, I could not see the person real clearly, but as the vehicle continued pushing through me, I was paused. My position changed to the side of the vehicle where I was directly outside the driver's side window. And I could see inside of the window and I could see the driver very clearly.
Bro, he really does get on my last nerves, man. He really does. Like, he gets on my last nerve. He's like that annoying cousin that you got, that you don't like inviting to the family functions because he's just so annoying. He reads the statement. He reads those statements like that. He reads it like that in a mocking tone, right? But then gets angry later on because of how Attorney Sue Opper says defendant. Even though she did say it, she said it like that, y'all. Like, come on, yeah. None of us like Darrell Brooks, but she said it like that. She said the defendant. She said that. You guys know she said it. We all heard it. All right? No lying in here.
Would that be fair to say that those are your statements?
Yes, sir.
So, could you or could you not see the driver clearly?
Your question is if I could see him clearly. Yes, I could see him clearly.
So why would you state that you couldn't see him clearly when asked the question?
I think you were asking about his hair.
So I asked about his hair before. This is a different question.
Could you ask your question again, please?
You just stated that you could see the driver clearly, correct?
Correct.
But you also said that you couldn't see the driver clearly, correct?
Objection, that's a mistake.
Grounds.
So, Mr. Brooks, I think it comes.
Why you gotta be so grounds, bro? Like, relax, bro. Woosah. See, you don't know how to chill and breathe like we do here on Alphonso Speaks, and that's why you ended up in this situation in the first place. Everybody, there's a breathe break, right? Deep breath. One more. All right, y'all. We're good. This man's annoying. He's a prick, but we're good. We're getting through this.
Down just a little bit of context. I'm going to sustain the objection, and then if you would please rephrase. I think it comes down to at what point in time in the contact with the SUV are you referring?
At any time.
Your Honor, we need the question again. That's not, that question is vague.
All right. Put it all together. See what else to say in the objection.
At any time, could you see the driver clearly? At any time during your attempt to stop the vehicle?
Yes, at any time I could see the person clearly that was driving.
The entire time you attempted to stop it, you can clearly see the driver of the vehicle?
Well, at one time you asked any time, and then you asked the entire time, so
Detective Casey, just answer the question, please, if you can. If not, say you don't understand it.
I don't understand it.
See, this is one thing that I didn't like early on with Judge Darrell. Like, why are you policing the witnesses more than you're policing Darrell Brooks? Like, I know you're trying to keep the record clear. I know you're trying to, like, prevent any type of appeal. But, like, come on. He's asking the stupidest questions. Some of them are compound. Some of them are unclear. And, like, we're just supposed to say yes or no or I don't understand. No, at some point, somebody's got to clap back and be like, bro, you make no sense. And if you're not going to do it, then me as a witness, I'm going to take it upon myself to do it. It is what it is.
Just a second.
Goodness. There you go.
No, I did not.
Oh, he did ask a question within 30 seconds. Good.
Did you observe the vehicle strike anyone when you attempted to stop it?
No, I did not.
Did you see the vehicle strike anybody before it approached you?
No, I did not.
Would it be fair to say that there were hundreds of people present at the time that you attempted to stop the vehicle?
Yes, there were hundreds of people there.
And you saw no one struck by the vehicle?
That is correct.
Did you see if anyone else was, could you see rather, if anyone else was in the vehicle?
I did not see anybody else in the vehicle when I passed the location.
Do you recall there being any tinted windows to the vehicle you attempted to stop?
I do not recall the passenger front or the passenger rear being tinted. I believe that the rear windows in the SUV were tinted.
So it would be fair to say that from your vantage point, you wouldn't be able to see the entire seating of the vehicle you attempted to stop?
Objection, that's a misstatement.
Grounds.
Overruled. You may answer the question.
Could you re-ask?
Look at his face. Look at his Gosh, man. Like, faces can talk, guys. Faces can talk. Like, if you look at his face when it's ruled in his favor, he's like, now answer the question. Like, goodness, man.
Next question, please.
Would it be fair to say that because of the tint to the rear windows that you could not visibly see the seating of the vehicle that you attempted to stop?
I did not see anybody in the vehicle. I don't think that the tint had any reasons for me not to be able to see in.
So it would be fair to say that you could clearly see the seating of the vehicle you attempted to stop, front, passenger, and back seat.
From the limited view that I had, I thought that I could see it.
Even though you just said that the rears were tinted.
I believe that it's the far back windows in the passenger compartment that were tinted, not the passenger windows, from my memory.
So it would be fair to say you can recall every window that was tinted on the vehicle that you attempted to stop.
I think that question's been asked and answered, Your
Grounds.
Honor. His answer should
Grounds.
stand.
Hold on, Mr. Brooks. The objection is sustained. Next question. Has been answered.
Detective Casey, are you a party to this case in any way?
I don't understand the question.
Are you a party to this case?
I don't understand the question.
Have you filed a claim in regards to this case?
I have not.
Have you read the complaint in this case?
I've read the complaint.
Do you recall who the complaint was brought by?
The complaint is brought by the state of Wisconsin, represented by the Waukesha County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sue Opper.
So the state of Wisconsin then would be the plaintiff in this matter then, correct?
That is correct, the state of Wisconsin.
Do you see the state of Wisconsin present in the courtroom right now?
Yes, I do. They are represented at the prosecution table by District Attorney Sue Opper, Deputy District Attorney Leslie Basie, and Assistant District Attorney Zach Witchell.
Finally, somebody answers the question like that. Thank you. Thank you, Detective Casey. Detective Casey for the win, guys. Like, oh man, what a great witness this guy is.
You said represented.
Yes, sir.
Do you see the plaintiff?
The plaintiff is an entity. They are represented by the District Attorney's Office.
So the plaintiff is an entity.
Correct.
To the best of your knowledge, is an entity a human being?
An entity is an entity. It is not a human being.
To the best of your knowledge, being in law enforcement for as long as you have, would it be fair to say that an entity, which is not a human being, living person, can bring a claim against anyone?
I believe they.
Object, Your Honor, to the
Grounds.
relevance.
Grounds.
Hold on, let her get her objection out, okay?
I mean, I've tried to be patient, but these questions really have no bearing on this.
The objection is sustained on relevance grounds. Next question.
Have you ever had any interaction with the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
Sustained.
Come on, Judge Darrell. Under 90611, new topic, or I will end this cross-examination. It really is that easy.
How long have you known the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Let her get her objection out, Mr. Brooks. It's sustained on relevance grounds.
Grounds. Grounds.
With all due respect, Your Honor, I think that those are valid questions to the matter.
Mr. Brooks, they've been sustained. Next question.
Just so we're clear for the record, you did hear the vehicle that you attempt to stop blow numerous times. Blow its horn.
Look at his face, man. Look at Detective Casey's face. This man, look, well, hold on. Look at his face as soon as it cuts to him.
You did hear the vehicle that you attempt to stop blow numerous times.
Look at his face. Yo, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Detective Casey is my favorite person right now. He really is. Look at this. It looks like he's looking directly at the state. Like, oh my gosh, bro. Can y'all please get me out of this cross-examination? I am getting exhausted. I'm tired of answering this man's stupid questions. Help.
Blow its horn.
Yes, I heard the horn blowing as it was approaching my position.
Would it be fair to say that that would indicate that the vehicle was trying to alert people to its presence?
Objection calls for speculation.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Grounds.
Speculation.
Grounds.
Just 1 second.
It's like he thinks that if he shouts grounds, it just eliminates the objection automatically.
So would it be fair to say that the beeping of the horn was coming from the vehicle that you attempted to stop?
Objection asked and answered.
Grounds.
It has been asked and answered. One last time. He may answer, though. Go ahead. The objection's overruled.
I believe that it was coming from the vehicle that was coming to my position, the Ford Escape.
I want to refer you again to page 15. It is from your testimony at the preliminary hearing.
With Your Honor, that's improper because Detective Casey does not have the testimony transcript in front of him.
The district attorney is correct. This witness does not have the transcript in front of him.
So would that render him unable to recall what he testified to?
I don't know. You have to ask him that.
That's what I was attempting to do, Your Honor. I apologize. So just so I'm clear, am I allowed to read from this or no?
Just ask your question, Mr. Brooks.
From the best of your knowledge, do you recall stating in your testimony at the preliminary hearing that it was in fact the vehicle you attempted to stop that was blaring its horn?
Objection, that's not what the
Grounds.
transcript says.
Grounds.
And it's been asked and answered.
Sustained.
Were you injured in any way attempting to stop the vehicle?
I was not injured when I was trying to stop the vehicle.
What did you do after attempting to stop the vehicle?
I first got on my radio and advised the other units that were in the parade route that red Ford Escape had went past my position. I requested additional squads be sent 1039, which means red lights and siren. Shortly after that, I began running after the Ford Escape in an attempt to stop it, but the vehicle sped up to a speed that I couldn't keep up with it until it hit the next position.
Reading from the transcript, page 18. Do you recall us making a statement? Initially, I began, it's sort of what you just said. Initially, I began chasing after the vehicle to try to get it to stop. And as I was following behind the vehicle, I could see that it was on the north side of the roadway, at times beeping its horn. Would that be fair to say that you made that statement?
That is a fair statement.
So even after you attempted to stop the vehicle, you still observed the vehicle beeping its horn?
I heard the vehicle beeping its horn after it passed me.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
Yes, just briefly. I'd like permission to put up Exhibit 120 again, Your Honor. It's already been admitted and published.
Permission granted.
Detective Casey, is Exhibit 120 on the screen now?
Yes, it is.
And you've been asked here today several questions from Mr. Brooks about what you saw as the vehicle passed you. Is that correct?
Objection. I do not consent to being called that name, and I do not know the person that you refer to.
Objection is noted. It's overruled.
Yes.
Is Exhibit 120, well, strike that. Do you know where on the parade route the vehicle was located when this screenshot was captured?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, I do.
Where?
Approximately at 200 block of West Main Street. The building directly opposite the Ford Escape is 234 West Main Street.
You were back at the intersection of White Rock and Main Street, correct?
Yes, I was.
So about how far was it from where you saw the red SUV with Mr. Brooks driving to where this photo was, where this video was taken, and this is a screenshot from that video, correct?
Objection. I do not consent to being called that name, and I do not know the individual by who you refer to.
Your objection is noted. May I answer the question?
I would say that it's approximately 0.2 of a mile for me, a very short distance.
Okay. Was the appearance virtually the same from when you saw it to when this screenshot was captured?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, it was.
Are you able to see the driver of the vehicle in this screenshot, sir?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, I am.
Can you see the hair of the driver in this screenshot, sir?
You cannot see his hair.
As the vehicle went past you, back at your post on White Rock in Maine, what were you focused on?
I was focused on the driver's face when it was driving past me.
Okay. You told us on direct examination on Friday you were able to pound on the hood, correct? Were you directly in front of the vehicle at that point?
Objection. He also said in his testimony on Friday that he can identify the clothing. He specifically said what the color of the clothing
There's nothing
was.
to testify. That's not a proper objection. As to the specific objection, it's overruled, and Attorney Albert may complete her question.
Where were you positioned when you were pounding on the hood of the SUV?
Objection.
Overruled.
And by that, I don't mean the street, I mean where on the car.
I was directly in front of the vehicle by the left front bumper.
Did you have to step out of the way to avoid being struck?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
The vehicle came in contact with me. As it was pushing through me, I shuffled my feet to the side, and then I continued down the side of the vehicle where I came directly in view with the driver's side window.
Okay. So you would have been, what was the driver doing as it passed you?
Objection. Irrelevant.
As he passed you, I should say.
Overruled.
Objection. I do not consent to being called he.
Initially, he was staring straight at me.
Wait, hold up. I don't consent to being called he. So what are your pronouns, man? Look, I know it's 2023. Everybody can do what they want. I support everybody living the way that they want. So if Darrell Brooks has pronouns that he would prefer to be called instead of he, is he one of the they them people? Is he one of them that doesn't even really identify as a human being? But then that wouldn't be accurate because later on in the trial he says, objection, I'm not a person, I'm a human being. So at some point it starts to sound like you're just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping something sticks. Because that don't make sense at all.
Head, and as I was pounding on the driver's side window, he turned and looked directly at my face.
Okay. And the reason you were pounding on the hood and pounding on the driver's side window is what?
I was trying to get the vehicle to stop.
Did the vehicle stop?
The vehicle never stopped.
Did the driver make any effort to pull over or pull off the parade route at that stop?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
I initially chased after the vehicle, trying to get it to stop. I could see the vehicle driving until it crossed Barstow, where it first made contact with people. The vehicle sped up, and I never saw it slow down or stop until I lost view of it as it crossed Barstow Street.
Okay.
What are you so confused about?
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, y'all. That'll do it for Detective Casey's examination. And yeah, he's like the ultimate state witness, and he was so great for them, like in every way. He wasn't really giving Darrell Brooks anything to work with. He wasn't, answering questions the way that Darrell Brooks would have preferred, and he wasn't backing down from Darrell Brooks either. It was just fantastic. Like that was perfect. So, whew, okay. Remember, guys, breathe. Wusa. Meditate daily, right? Peace, love, and positivity. Spread it everywhere. Leave your PLP down in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and supporting this channel. I will see you guys in the next episode. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you next time. Peace.